So how have masterminds and coaches played a role in my success? Enormously. It's been an enormous role. And it's also been a very indirect role. So part of the creative process, part of just your ability to process, requires context and requires perspective. And sometimes that's about, hey, coach, hey, mastermind group, I have this problem, give me perspective. But in my experience, that's not when the biggest value emerges. So I'll share a couple of anecdotes. We had a very challenging launch a while back. Did well, made lots of money, but also a lot of things didn't work out. We didn't hit the targets we wanted to. And as it turned out, I was attending a mastermind like the week after. And it was a 2-day mastermind. And I get there, and on the first day, I'm sitting in that room, and I'm feeling just miserable. Like I don't want to be here. I'm super frustrated. Everything is making me pissed off. I'm feeling a huge amount of imposter syndrome, right? Who am I to be here? I'm a fraud. I don't belong. And as I'm sitting there, as I'm experiencing it, like my rational brain can make the list of, well, no, I've generated $60 million of revenue, and I've launched all these podcasts and all these courses, and I really know my stuff, and I can make that whole list. But you still feel what you feel, right? Like you can't, just like you can't logic someone into falling in love with you, you also can't logic yourself out of feeling bad, right? What you can do is logic yourself into, I'm going to reserve judgment for a little bit, but I'm sitting there, I was just feeling crappy. But I'm hearing these ideas, I'm hearing these perspectives, and it's not really sinking in, but maybe kind of, sort of, starting to get ideas turning. And that night, I couldn't sleep very well. It's not that sorry, let me say that differently. I'm an early morning person anyway. I'm up 4, a little after 4 most days. And this was a mastermind several time zones away. So, when an early morning person is jet lagged, they become a night person, essentially. So I got up super early, and my wife was traveling with me. She was asleep. I didn't want to bother her. So I grabbed my laptop. I leave the room. I go down to the lobby of the hotel. And all the ideas start flowing. It's like a scene out of A Beautiful Mind. I'm just like, oh, this idea connects to that idea. I'm writing myself notes. And the second day of the mastermind was great. And not because I don't think I had a conversation in the mastermind about any of the stuff I was dealing with or struggling with. But just being in that context was really valuable. I think that's why I like walking so much, right? There's something to the getting of distance physically from where you were when you were experiencing a challenge, right? It helps with the processing, and it goes a really long way. I'll share a second example. Similarly, I had a whole bunch of stuff, a whole bunch of issues in my business, and I made a plan to go work with a coach for a day. And so I get on a plane, we spend the day with this coach, and it was very helpful. Got a lot out of the day. And he had some really good suggestions. But honestly, half of the value I got before I even met the guy. Because just knowing that I'm going there and I'm starting to think about how will I describe my situation, my challenges, what are the issues, what are the contours, right? Getting on a plane, going away from my environment, it changed a lot of things. Now, I don't mean for what I'm saying to kind of minimize the value of the actual mastermind, the actual coach. They helped a ton. I got a lot of good ideas from the various masterminds I've been in. I've benefited a ton from working with coaches who have a perspective that I don't, who can see things that I can't just by virtue of, they're not sitting in my head and they have experience that I don't. But I think honestly, the biggest part of the value is that it's a context that holds you accountable to looking at things in a different way. Which, as I say this, I think some people might find inspiring and other people might find incredibly unsatisfying. But that's the reality. So there you go. Years and years ago, we were going through a real challenge period in the business. And I was thinking about engaging a coach. And great guy. I'm really happy I got to work with him. We ended up working together for about 6 years, and he was instrumental in helping us get our business from where it was to where it could be. And I remember distinctly one of my biggest concerns, and I articulated this to him about like engaging him, was, I'm a smart guy. I don't think there is a lot of low-hanging fruit, right? Where it's like, there's this obvious thing that to fix in the business, and I just missed it. And that wasn't a concern of what if he comes in, sees something obvious, is it worth the money? It was the opposite. What if he comes in and he can't find anything? And then I'm really screwed. And what's interesting is he came in, and it's not that he saw things. It's that he was able to direct my attention and ask me questions that guided me to look in places where I could see the things that I had become blind to. And this happens to all of us, right? When you're all these lines, you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. You can't read the label when you're inside the jar, right? When you're so close to it, it becomes invisible to you. And again, that's not to minimize the incredible value that an experienced coach and mentor can bring. They can suggest strategies, they can offer perspectives, they can do all these things. But one of the most valuable things they do is allow you to see things through a fresh pair of eyes, and all the things that have become invisible to you suddenly appear.